Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. I don't know how I thought that was gonna go, but not like that. There are a lot of things that you could spend your money on when you really think about it. You could buy investments, you could buy land, you could buy cars, clothes, food, you know, the stuff you really need. But when you really think about it, you really break it down, the most important thing is cheap fragrances that smell similar to more expensive fragrances. Yeah, or actually maybe on the hierarchy of things, that's not the most important, but that's what we're talking about here today. Some of the best ones you can buy, okay? Some of the tops, the real stuff. All of it's gonna be linked in the description below, so feel free to check down there. We're gonna begin with this right here, Swiss Arabian Tobacco 01, or Tobacco 01, whatever. Extrait de Parfum. Now I saw this one on the old shop, the JOMASHOP, for like 50 bucks, and I do like tobacco fragrances. I do like extrait de parfums. That was pretty much the extent of my thought process there. You can see I really went deep with this one. Yeah. Now Swiss Arabian is known for making cologne fragrances, but they also have a lot of other stuff that's kind of like their own thing, like Soul of Bali. That one's been talked about a little bit here lately. I did a video on it as well. This one is sort of in between. So it's not like a one-to-one clone, but it is in the style of some more popular fragrances. So it's one of those deals, you know, where they take inspiration, or at least that's how it seems, from some big stuff, and then they're like, but let's put a little twist on it so we can say it's our own thing. So this one smells a little bit similar to taking Side Effect from Initio Parfum and introducing it to Dior's Tobacoler, and then this is what pops out. So tobacco-y, yes, and very much in that kind of sweet style of things, almost kind of syrupy initially, which is gonna remind you more of Side Effect. And then has a little bit of that kind of smokiness, like light smokiness that comes out as it dries down, with it being an extrait de parfum, of course, great performance, lasts a long time, projects well, all of that good stuff. Obviously, a fall and wintertime fragrance smells fantastic and a ton of notes. Yes, they have bucked the trend of the 3-note breakdown here. It's got stuff like plum, licorice, apple, honey, of course, tobacco, labdanum, it has vanilla in there, it's got spices in there, it's got like a little bit of everything, honestly. It is one that I purchased recently, so I got this in really not that long ago, and if I had this fragrance already when I made my fall top 10 list of cologne fragrances, probably would have made that list. But now I can just save it and put that in winter, which I'll probably do. So as the temperature drops and it cools down outside a little bit more, this right here gonna be in the rotation. The next one is from French Avenue, and it's this one right here, Aventus Extrait, which comes in the same bottle style as Ether Extrait, which is also really, really good. And one thing that this does share a little bit with Ether Extrait is it's one of those fragrances that does toughen up as it grows a little older. Now, I've spoken about this at length with Ether Extrait, but that fragrance when I first got it in was apocalyptically bad. So when I did a couple sprays of that one when I first got it, it smelled like rubbing alcohol, like really almost nothing. Truly one of the worst first impressions I have ever had of any fragrance. Clone, niche, indie, designer, doesn't matter. That stuff was headed straight for the trash can. And I set it aside, kind of like that, except further away, because I was disgusted by, get away from me! A little too far. But I did that with the old Ether, came back to it a while later, and it was completely different, which I know a lot of you guys have experienced the same thing with that. Smells really, really good. This one, not as bad off the top. So when I first got this in and sprayed it on, it wasn't as garbage as Ether was, but it still was not as good as it is now. So this one is a clone of Wave Child, in case you are unaware. A very similar color scheme, actually. When you first spray it on, whole bunch of watermelon. You're gonna get a big blast of that. Also kind of creamy and sweet. You have coconut in here, you have citrus as well. Great summertime fragrance, but it does have enough depth that you could pull this off in fall. Also winter, if you wanna change things up. Also another extrait, so good performance once again. But to reiterate, if you get this fragrance in, you do this deal right here, and you say, ugh, they're not there, or gone in 30 minutes, 30 seconds. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to just let it mature. After it does though, it will get infinitely better. And once it does, top notch. The next fragrance I'm gonna talk to you about is from North Stag, and it is Deux, or 2. And North Stag, this is part of Paris Corner, which also has Pandora Scents, among others. And I will say, as far as like the big cologne houses go, that is the brand I trust the least, probably. Just in the sense of getting stuff in and having it just not work for me, even after letting the fragrance sit for a while. But this is one of the best. This is very, very, very good. And it is a clone of Parfums Marly's Leighton. Actually, probably one of the best ones out there. So you're gonna get with this fragrance sandalwood, patchouli, cardamom, vanilla, bergamot, lavender, apple, geranium, among other notes. Once again, very, very good performance. Great longevity, great projection. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. This one though does fly way under the radar compared to just about every single other Leighton alternative out there. And it can be harder to find than most of the other ones out there. So if you can find it for a good price, absolutely worth scooping up. But if the only time you see it, it's going for, $60 or more than that, it's not worth that much. And if you're looking for Leighton exclusive, I think Mirage Absolu by French Avenue is probably your best bet. You can find that one easier as well. But I did just want to highlight this one. It is very, very well done. So if you're looking to scratch that Leighton itch, but you want one that's not as well known as the other big ones out there, check this. Next up, we got a fragrance that hit the TikTok hype train, which any brand out there, if you want to hit the TikTok hype train, here's what you do. Step 1, reach out to the TikTokers. Step 2, offer fragrance. Step 3, offer money. Step 4, hyped. Yes! And it is this one, Armaf's Ombre Dior. It does have a nice presentation. I dig the look. It's simple but very classy, modern looking, and has a magnetic cap. Oh, nice. So this one is a little bit metallic, has a good amount of saffron in there, and it may remind you of a couple different fragrances. The minerality that it has is a little reminiscent of Ganymede and fragrances of that style. So if you're familiar with Ganymede or any of the multitude of fragrances out there at this point that smell similar to Ganymede, then when you smell this and you get that metallic, mineral kind of saffron vibe, gonna probably make you think of that or one of the other fragrances in that style. And the other fragrance it could remind you of is Crystal Saffron, which also has been compared to the smell of Ganymede. So you can see how that works, right? It's just kind of right in that wheelhouse. Yet again, another fragrance with really good longevity, very nice projection, so it does last, it will get you noticed. Also has a kind of an iris vibe to it, a nice classy addition there. Now this is not gonna be for everybody. It's not probably as easy to pull off for some people as these over here. Not because it smells like, crazy out of left field or anything like that. It's just that minerally kind of vibe that Ganymede gives and Crystal Saffron gives is not for everyone. Some people are gonna smell it and think it's more of like a special occasion type of scent, stuff like that. But in terms of quality, it is really well done, and thankfully you can find this at discounters now for a not crazy price. Now before we head to the next fragrances, and there are some good ones in there, I wanna give you some good codes, which are right here. And you can use these codes whenever you shop at any of these sites, whether you're looking for something niche, designer, or clones, whatever. The JOMASHOP ones only work within the JOMASHOP app, so be aware of that. And they do change every quarter, so also be aware of that. But then the other codes, those you can use whenever you want. And the Gift Express and Perfume Box codes you can now use unlimited times. Not a single-use code anymore. We head on now to probably the cheapest of them all, at least of today's video. It is Sapple's Ombre Smoky Quartz. Now this one does come with a caveat, and that is, I'm not in love with it. So you may say, well, why is it in here then? I'll tell you. So this is a clone of Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford, and it smells to me like a much nicer version, actually, of Ceruto Tobacco Vanille. And actually smelling this right now, it has gotten a little bit nicer than the first while that I had it. Another one of those, oh, I had it for a while and now it smells better kind of deals. I'm fully aware that sometimes you sound like the biggest dope in the universe when you say that. Well, I got it and I tried it and it sucked, but now I tried it a month later and it's suddenly good. But sometimes it happens, I don't know. That said, even though it smells a little nicer to me right now than it did earlier, it's still not necessarily like fully my thing. But like I said, it smells similar to Ceruto's Tobacco Vanille, which is actually quite hyped as a cheap Tobacco Vanille alternative. Yeah, I know, Tobacco Vanille, it's a great alternative to Tobacco Vanille. It gets confusing, but you know what I'm saying. This is in that wheelhouse as the Ceruto, but much better. The quality is is higher, it's smoother, but it has the same kind of scent profile. And you can find this for like basically nothing. This is a turbo cheap fragrance from discounters. Easy to find, easy to pick up, low cost. And really, really good for fall and winter time, of course. Gonna give you that tobacco vanilla spice forward scent profile that people really like. Rayhan is up next. This one is Pacific Aura, which is probably, as of right this minute, the best fragrance that they've released so far. They have had some really good ones come out recently. This one, of course, and then Adonis Icarus is pretty good as well, and then Valhalla is good as well. But Pacific Aura, this is, I think, the best thing they've done so far, and it is Pacific Chill. You know, similar color scheme and everything like that. This is real good. And they've been stepping up that attention to detail, the calligraphy on the back of the bottle, name of the house on the side, magnetic cap, the whole deal. So this is gonna give you those Pacific Chill vibes, obviously very much a summertime fragrance, citrus forward, attention grabbing, tangy, sweet, fresh, brisk. Great performance here, so you're gonna get better longevity, better projection, which a lot of people, you know, that's why they gravitate towards clone fragrances, because it's basically like ramping everything up to 11. Wonderful for spring and summer, and also good for fall and winter if you want a change of pace type of fragrance, because a lot of times these fresher ones, they actually smell amazing when it's really cold out. I've talked about that as well in the past, but if you have some freshies, some summertime scents, and you're like, oh, I can't wear it because it's cold outside, forget all that. Go ahead and spray it on, wear it, see how it works for you. Even if you need to spray a few extra sprays, doesn't really matter too much, because summertime scents, you know, they're usually more approachable anyway. So if you go heavy with it, doesn't matter. Following that, we have a Zamaya and a body fragrance from Zamaya, but not opulent, which is the one that gets talked about more often. This one is a body Saga. So it has this kind of like grayish color scheme to it. Yeah, kind of depressing gray. Fragrance though, smells similar to Absolute Aventus by Creed, only obviously way cheaper. What is the retail of Absolute Aventus nowadays? I don't even remember. Phone, tell me, what is the price? $610 for the 100 ml, or you can get the 50 ml for the low price of $450. Now, of course, you can get it from discounters. Like JOMASHOP right now has a 100 ml for $430, so technically that is a good savings, but And now there are a bunch of Absolute Aventus clones out there, so you kind of have your pick of the litter. You know, you can get some that are a little more expensive, some that are a little bit cheaper. This is gonna be one of the cheaper ones. For the price, it is one of the best bang for buck Absolute Aventus alternatives out there. When you first spray it on, it is maybe a little bit like more peppery almost, but it still has that nice freshness, that nice ease of use, that versatility like you would expect from an Aventus style fragrance. And in typical Zamaya fashion, it is way out of its weight class in terms of what you get versus what you pay. And this one is also a little bit more trying to be like one-to-one instead of being a twist. The following one is a collage, and it is Island Dreams. Now this is an interesting line to me in a way, because a lot of fragrance lines from like clone houses, they make sense in what they're copying in a way. So it might be after a particular line of fragrances, or it might be a particular style of fragrances or whatever. But with Island, they're kind of like, we just do whatever, I don't care. Because with the original Island, it was Le Beau Le Parfum. And you were like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Island, tropical, I get it. And then they came out with Vanilla Dunes, which is Altair, which I don't know that that really has anything to do with an island, but okay. And then they came out with Dreams over here, which by the way, I do like the gradient. They look pretty slick. Dreams is a Louis Vuitton. And you would think, okay, Louis Vuitton. They're probably gonna go Pacific Chill, Afternoon Swim, something like that. And you know, that makes sense with an island name. But Island Dreams is actually Louis Vuitton Symphony. So yeah, they just kind of go, Collage Island, you know, we'll just make it whatever we want. Who cares? But I guess it works for them. Now the name aside, Symphony, the fragrance itself does smell like something that you could slap an island name on and it would work. Ginger, grapefruit, bergamot, really fresh, sweet in the opening. Kind of this musky, ambroxany base that gives it a nice fizz, a nice pop. The quality is actually fantastic here, especially for the price point. And the atomizer, in case you didn't notice, really good. So Collage coming out with something here that's gonna be probably more an if you know type of fragrance. Top-notch stuff. Let's go back to something more fall and winter based with this right here from the Zafiro collection from Maison Alhambra, Crafted Oud, which is a clone of Carved Oud, which is extremely, extremely apparent when you take a look at the presentation, the name, everything else. And in case you're unaware, Carved Oud, which by the way, terrible atomizer on this one, Carved Oud smells similar to Oud Wood from Tom Ford. So it's gonna give you that spicy, sweet, sexy oud scent profile. Very Western oud, you know, not funky, dirty, animalic, barnyardy, nothing like that. More so just this like very classy, sophisticated, dark-edged, spicy, sweet woodiness. It does come across smelling a little more special occasion-esque, but I would say that in general, if you like woodsy fragrances with that spicy kind of edge, you can pull it off pretty much whenever you want. And quality-wise, top-notch stuff. Maison Alhambra can sometimes be a little bit hit or miss. Like some Maison Alhambras are a little rough around the edges, others are very good. This is more one of the good ones. And we're gonna finish things up with Arabiat Prestige's Al Noor. Atomizer check. It's good. It's real good. Ooh, that one's pretty strong. Dang! Just like this whole area now. Oh no, it's spreading. I smell it here. Yep, Jesus. It's pretty strong. This one is sort of a hybridization. Yeah, it's one of those taking this and that and putting it together and then you get something new. And it's Ebony Fumé by Tom Ford with Gris Charnel by BDK. Maybe leaning a little more toward the Gris Charnel side of things, but giving it that edge that the Tom Ford brings. So you have that creamy aspect, you have that very attention-getting opening from Gris Charnel, but you give it more of that oomph, more depth, more body, a little bit of that extra smokiness, sort of that resinous vibe coming through, which is really reflected in that whole matte black bottle finish, which looks pretty good as well. So another one that's gonna be more fall, winter time. It does lean more towards evening use just as far as the scent profile itself. And it's one of those ones where when you smell it, if you don't know anything about it, you know nothing, then you're gonna think it's a very expensive fragrance, a high-end niche scent. And for everybody else, they don't need to know any different. You can just tell them that you're wearing something that's 300 bucks. Your secret is safe with me. So there we go, guys. There are some fragrances, some of the best ones that you can buy today. A little bit more of a lean toward fall and winter time because of when I'm shooting this video right now, starting to finally cool down outside, but with some really good summertime options as well, and ones that you could wear if you want to switch stuff up when it's cold out and go with something a little fresher. It's a wobbly bottle. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.